Should you be eating 2 meals a day, 3 meals a day? Should you be eating 6 to 8 small meals a day? Whether you should be eating low fat or low carbohydrate. And this is the factor that makes you regain all of your weight once you lose it. Hey, what is up people, this is Sarang. If you don't know who I am, I teach you guys about weight loss, muscle building and how to get this whole health and fitness side of your life handled. In this video, I'm going to give out to you a complete roadmap to weight loss. But before we begin, I just need to clarify just one or two things. Number one is I'm not telling that this is the whole solution. I'm not saying that this is a complete solution, because nutrition should always be personalized in my opinion, because every one of us is so different. Every individual is so different from every other individual that it is impossible for me or for anyone out there to give you just one simple diet plan unless it is personalized for you. There is no one general diet that works for everyone. And what I'm going to tell you in this video is the basic roadmap, the framework that anybody out there, it doesn't matter who you are going to get results if you do this correctly. Follow it for at least 4 to 5 weeks before you judge this whole thing that I'm going to tell you in this video. So that all out of the way, let's get into the video. So the first thing that you need to do is, everybody know this, that you need to cut out all the junk food from your diet. When I'm saying junk food, I just don't mean the burgers, the pizza, the french fries. Obviously you have to get rid of all of that. It's very obvious. But moreover than just the typical junk qualified food, you need to get rid of any food you need to get rid of that is processed, refined or extracted. Any food that comes out of this earth, if that food has to go through a machine before going into your mouth, you cannot eat that food in this 4 to 5 week period. That means any food that is processed in any kind, in any machine at all, you cannot eat it. Cooking doesn't come under processing. Many people ask this, but cooking does not come under processing. When I mean processing, you are grinding it, you are converting the original form of the food into an entirely different altogether form. Do not eat any processed, refined, packaged or extracted food. The second thing that you need to do is you need to get rid of grains, sugars and refined oils. Now this might come as a surprise because everybody knows this. If you want to lose weight, you need to have your oatmeal breakfast, or you need to eat brown rice with your meal, or you need to eat whole wheat bread instead of white bread and all that kind of stuff. I'll make a whole another video because I just cannot tell so much information into this video. This video will get too long. You will get bored and you will go off to some other video, and I obviously don't want that. So I'm going to give you just quick explanation why you shouldn't be eating grains. When human beings were evolving, for the 99.9999% of the part, we did not consume any grains. Most of the humans out there are intolerant to grains. They have a lot of unfamiliar proteins like gluten, if you know, or they have lectins, phytates, and a lot of what I don't call it, it's the name. Grains have something called anti-nutrients. Because of those anti-nutrients, it can really harm your body. Moreover that grains have almost no nutritive value. Most of the grains out there, especially wheat and things like that, or rice, they have no nutritive value. They have no macronutrients or very little macronutrients. They have no nutrient density in them. So the number one thing you need to do in step 2 is get rid of all the grain products. The second thing you need to do is you need to get rid of all kinds of sugar. Okay, when I tell people that you need to get rid of all the sugar from your diet, the obvious question is, can I replace it with honey, or can I replace it with coconut sugar? Can I replace it with beet sugar and all that kind of crap? Sugar is sugar. I don't care where it is coming from. If it is in a concentrated, isolated form, sugar is going to mess up your weight loss efforts, at least initially. You later can add this back one by one if you want, but initially for the 4 to 5 weeks, completely cut out all the sugar. That means table refined sugar, honey, coconut sugar, beet sugar, fruit juice, or any kind of thing, any kind of sweet thing you need to get rid of completely. Whole fruit is okay if you are eating it in the whole form. If you are taking that fruit, cutting it and putting it into the smoothie and making a fruit juice out of it, or a smoothie, then it is not allowed. The only allowed sugar is coming from whole fruit when you are eating whole fruit in its natural form. Otherwise, you cannot eat it in this whole program. The third up is refined oils. Refined oils are basically any vegetable oil, any industrial oil. The only oils that I'd say I'll recommend you to really use is, I'd say, coconut oil. Even though it has a lot of saturated fat, those saturated fats are good for you. This is not a topic for this video, but saturated fat is not going to give you heart disease. I'll make a whole another video. There is no conclusive research pointing to this. Coconut oil is not going to give you heart disease. So coconut oil, olive oil, let's say avocado oil. If you're an Indian, then it's next to impossible for you to buy avocado oil on a daily basis. There's no point in it because it is very expensive. What is walnut oil? Or you can straight away just use homemade ghee or butter. Don't use the ghee, the industrialized butter or ghee that you get in the supermarkets or grocery stores. Make it on your own using good quality milk, or get it from a good dairy shop or something like that. One of the things also I forgot to mention, what these 2 points imply is you cannot eat roti, you cannot eat rice, oats, anything. No grains, no sugar, no refined oil, no junk food, no processed food, no refined food. So the one thing that it does, it decreases inflammation, which is a huge factor in losing weight and in gaining weight. You need to get rid of the systemic low-grade inflammation from your body. It is very important. So cut out all the grains for 4 to 5 weeks. If you have to eat brown rice. Third up is meal frequency. This is this is a big debate out there. I mean, this debate is on for like last 20 years, and people are just not settling on any conclusion. Should you be eating 2 meals a day, 3 meals a day? Should you be eating 6 to 8 small meals a day every 2 to 3 years? Or should you just do intermittent fasting and not eat anything? Now, there is a time and place for everything, but for most of the part, the least risky and the most accurate advice that I can give you right now is eat 3 meals per day. Regular, normal schedule. Eat a breakfast, eat a lunch, and eat a dinner, or eat a breakfast or some late lunch or a mid-afternoon meal and then dinner. So just stick to 3 meals per day. In my opinion, for most of the part, there is no reason for you to eat 6 to 8 small meals a day, or to eat every 2 to 3 hours. It doesn't boost metabolism, or it just does not work that way. In my opinion, just eat 3 meals throughout the day. Whatever you want to eat, just eat into those 3 meals, whatever is allowed in this whole program. The fourth thing is palatability and variety. This is very important. I mean, there is a rising epidemic out there of obesity all over the world, especially countries who are westernized, who are eating a lot of processed food and things like that. And if personally I were to point out at one thing, there are many things, by the way, that has contributed to this epidemic of obesity, and like every 1 in 3 person is overweight out there right now. But if I were to point out just one single thing, although it is not one single thing, there are many things, but one single thing, I would say that this is the factor that makes you overeat, this is the factor that makes you obese, and this is the factor that makes you regain all of your weight once you lose it. So this is very important. So what does palatability mean? Palatability is basically just the taste of the food. It's just a fancy term for taste of the food. How good your food tastes, basically. So if you are making your meals, you are going to eat 3 meals a day, it is very important for you to eat, to construct and prepare those meals in a way that they are not too tasty. Okay, you can make them enough tasty, I guess, but you have to not make it too damn tasty that is hyper palatable foods. Hyper palatable foods are the food that when you eat and you stop and you pause for a second, you get this massive urge to eat it again. It just, your tongue, your mouth just craves that food. You just want more of it even though you're full. That is called hyper palatable foods. It's also natural whole foods can be hyper palatable foods. For example, salted cashew nuts is a hyper palatable foods. I can eat like a bucket of cashew nuts if you were to give me. So you need to completely cut out hyper palatable foods, and you need to decrease the palatability of foods. That means that the taste of the food and the appeal, the appeal that a food has towards you need to decrease that. How can you do that? You need to minimize the salt that you are using to enhance the flavor. I'm not saying that you need to cut out salt completely. Salt is very, very important for healthy functioning of your body. So I'm not saying to cut out salt completely, but just use it to make the food edible. You know, don't make it too tasty, just cook the food enough so that you can make that food edible just for the 4 to 5 weeks. Then later you can start making it a little too tasty. But for now, just don't use too much salt to enhance the flavor of the food. The second is, don't use too much spices. If you're an Indian, then you obviously know that in our culture we have a ton of use of proper use of spice per se is not bad, because spices have a lot of nutrients. It is very healthy, but the use of spices to make it healthy and a little tasty, it has evolved from that stage to making it very tasty, making it very hyper palatable in nature. And the level of spice use in our culture and in our food is just not good anymore. It is just not healthy anymore. So you can use spices like turmeric or chili pepper, cayenne pepper, or even homemade normal spices, natural herbs and spices you can use. But if that's going to make your food too tasty for you, because taste is a preference after all, so if it's going to make your food too tasty, then there is really no reason for you to use it too much in this 4 to 5 week program. Don't use too much spice, don't use too much salt to enhance the flavor, or if you have any habit, or if you know if you have been putting something in your food to enhance the flavor, don't do it for the first 4 to 5 weeks. The key here is cook the food only to make it edible. Eat for survival, eat to live, and you will be fine on this. The next up in this step is variety. This is again very important. When you are eating 3 meals a day, right? 3 whole food meals per day. So what you need to do is, we'll get into what you should be eating later in the video, but just for now, whatever you are eating in every meal, you should be limiting your food options, the number of food items, not the quantity, the number of food items to maximum of 3. So that means that you cannot eat like too much variety in one meal. You can eat whatever you want as long as it is whole food, but you cannot have variety per meal. That means that if you are, say, you're eating breakfast and you are eating eggs plus some chicken plus some fruit plus some nuts plus some yogurt and things like that, you cannot have so much variety. The only thing you should be following is 3 food items per meal. That means eggs, some veggies or some fruit, and maybe some nuts, and that's all. You shouldn't be eating more than that. So maximum of 3 items per meal, it is very, very important. I'll make a whole another video how this works in making you lose weight and all that kind of stuff, but just for now, follow my advice, because otherwise the video will get too long, and also the battery of the camera is going to run out quickly. The fifth step that you need to do is macros and nutrient density. Now, this is obviously not the first video you're watching, and by now you must be wondering why I haven't pronounced the word calories, because most of the people think that it just boils down to calories in, calories out. And yes, calories are important, calorie deficit is important, macros are important, all that kind of stuff, but there is a whole lot of things that you need to really keep a check on. So all that aside, what you need to do is, with macros, there is this whole deal with whether you should be eating low fat or low carbohydrate, or you should have a balanced diet of some protein, some carbohydrate, some fat. In my opinion, the third option that I just told you, some protein, some fat, and some carb, is you shouldn't be doing that now when you're trying to lose weight. Polarize yourself, either get low fat or low carbohydrate. So if you are someone that can do a low carbohydrate diet, that means carbohydrate under 70 to 80 grams. That means almost eating no carbohydrates, and all the carbohydrates that you're getting will come through the veggies and nutrients and the whole food that you're eating. If you're going to do it that way, if you can eat a lower carbohydrate diet, which I think is sort of easy, the low fat diet, then I think, in my opinion, you should really do that, because in my opinion, lower carbohydrate diets work better than low fat diet just a little, but you can also lose a lot of weight on low fat diet and it's not inferior. So polarize yourself, either do a low fat diet or either do a low carbohydrate diet. Don't be in the middle ground. So in my opinion, if you are doing a low fat diet and you are not eating grains and sugars and all the junk food, then it will be very hard for you to hit your carbohydrate intake and all that kind of stuff. So it's on you to do it. The only carbohydrate sources you will have are yams, sweet potato, fruits, potatoes, vegetables, roots, shoots, tubers, and all that kind of stuff. If you can manage to do that, uh, props to you, more power to you. Do it, go ahead and do it. So in the next part of this whole video, I'll be explaining you what you should be eating if you're doing low fat, low carb, and all that kind of thing. But just for now, polarize yourself to one of the two things. Protein, very important, very important. In my opinion, you should be getting 1 gram per pound of lean body mass. That means if you're 200 pounds and your lean body mass is 150 pounds, lean body mass, by the way, is just your body weight minus the weight of weight of the fat on your body. That is the lean body mass. If your lean body mass is 150 pounds, you have to eat 1 gram per pound of lean body mass. That means 150 grams of protein every single day. So say you have to eat 150 grams of protein, then you'll have to divide your protein 50 in all the 3 meals. Then the question arises, can I absorb 50 grams of protein per meal? Yes, you can. The thing, all that advice about you shouldn't be eating more than 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal is, there is no scientific background to that, no scientific backing to that. You can absorb very good amount of protein even if you are not a bodybuilder. So eat 1 gram per pound of lean body mass. If you want to know how to calculate lean body mass, there are a lot of online calculators out there. I'll link one of them in the description down below for you. So that is for this. Again, I forgot to mention this, nutrient density is very important. All that means is that the food you are going to eat, every bite of food that you're going to eat has to have good nutritive value. So most nutrient dense foods on the planet are non-vegetarian products like organ meats, liver, a heart, or fish, shellfish, seafood, all that kind of stuff. If you are a vegan vegetarian, you don't need to add all these things. If you do, that is good. But you can also get a good amount of nutrients, say from legumes or herbs, or say good amount of veggies, some fruit, good quality nuts, good quality fermented dairy products, and all that kind of stuff, which we'll get into the part 2 of the video. But just for now, focus on the nutrition instead of the calories that you're getting. 6 is intuitive eating and preference. This is very important. If you don't do this, and if you do the 5 things right and you don't do the 6th point right, then all these 5 things are going to have no use. Because you see, we are not going to count calories in this program. There is nothing inherently wrong in calculating calories, but in my opinion, if you're starting out on weight loss, if you have no idea what to do to lose weight, then it might get too much confusing for you. So just stay away from counting, measuring, and all that kind of stuff, except for protein. You should, in my opinion, you should count your protein intake. So what I mean by intuitive eating is, when you are eating, just sit alone with your meal and eat it mindfully, without looking at a screen, without looking at a video, without watching movie, without having a conversation with your friend, without talking too much, or engaging any other activity other than eating. So what you need to do is, when you're eating, sit quietly with your meal alone and try to eat it mindfully, try to enjoy each and every bite of the food, every flavor, every taste of that food. Because the reason behind I'm telling you all this is, your body tells you, it signals you, your brain and your body work together. It signals you that you're full. You don't need to eat anymore. You don't need any more food input in your body. When that happens, you need to stop eating. When you eat in front of a screen, or while watching a movie, or engaging in any other activity, you just don't recognize that signal because you're too busy in some other activity. When you eat mindfully and you're aware of when that satiety signal is coming up, that you don't need any more food, stop eating. Even if that means that you are going to have food left over in your plate, it is okay. Put that food in your freezer. Don't finish that. If you keep finishing that, you are going to overeat. That overeating is going to make you fat and overweight and not going to help you lose weight. So you need to put that thing in your freezer. Now, this is people like emotionally blackmail you by telling you that some people on this planet go hungry without eating, and just because you're getting food, you are not valuing it and you're leaving it in your plate. Let me tell you that those extra 2 bites of food that you're eating is going to harm you. It is going to make you obese. It's going to, I'd say that many root causes of diseases can be traced back to overeating and not being aware of the food that you're eating. So make sure that it doesn't matter even if it is one almond or one peanut that is remaining in your plate. If you get the signal that you're full, stop eating and put that one peanut in your freezer and eat it in the next meal. That out of the way, second thing here is preference. If you are going to be aware and eat intuitively, then what you should do, because you need to really hit your protein and things like that. So preference, I'd say, is when you're eating and you're having three food items maximum per meal, focus on finishing your protein first. When you are done with your protein, move on to the veggies or the next nutrient dense part, then the third portion, whatever the third food item, that whatever you're eating. So that's it for this video. This is the basic roadmap that I wanted to tell you. This is the basic framework that you need to work with if you want to lose weight. Again, nutrition and weight loss and permanent weight loss, sustainability and all that kind of stuff has to be personalized, because we are so different from each other that if you want to really do this, you really need to have a personalized nutrition for you. There is no general advice that can solve completely. It can give a whole like 100% results, but if you really follow this framework for 4 to 5 weeks, you will get good results. You will get like the 80% of the solution that you need. This does not stop here. I'll make a part 2 of this video where I'll explain some more things that you need to dial in order to do all of these things correctly. We'll go meal by meal, what options you have, what you can include in meals, and how to prepare your meals and all that kind of stuff. But for this video, that is it, because this video has already been too long. So I'll stop here. So if you have any questions whatsoever till now, comment it in the comment section. I'll try to answer it here, or I'll answer it in the next video, in the next part that we are going to do of this video. If you have enjoyed this video, if you have found this video helpful, click the like button, comment your question, and subscribe. Make sure, this is very important, make sure you subscribe to this channel and press the bell icon to get notified when the next part of this video releases. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.